All right, looks like we are live. Cool. All right, welcome back. This is part 5 of the live composition series, where one particular composer is demonstrating their process, demonstrating how they get through an entire composition from start to finish. And the whole point of this is to, find, find ways to help composers and any music creators who are struggling to finish a piece. It's a super common problem I'm noticing, and I used to be in that spot. I used to start a lot of works and then I would not finish, and I would lose steam and lose inspiration and think everything that I did was bad and all that kind of stuff. So this is my attempt at an answer, one attempt at an answer, which is to just show the whole process live. How do I work through a composition from start to finish, and see what comes out of that? Every piece is a little different, but I know that I have a lot of principles and things that I've worked through myself, and just things that work for me, and different ways to perceive what I'm doing, and to sort of be able to decide what's important, and why I'm doing this in the first place, and all these things. So I think it's the best way to go about this, and to figure out exactly how one particular composer does it, is to go through the whole process and just talk through it and try to articulate everything that comes up as I'm doing it. And then later I can take all of these principles and lessons and things that came up naturally, and I can make more concise videos just on those, and try to just build a sort of tool set of videos that you can go refer to when you maybe get stuck or need some inspiration, or just need to see somebody else's approach, whatever. I wish I had that when I was first starting. There was nothing like this. And I know probably other composers are doing stuff like this. I don't try to watch too much of that, because I don't want to be influenced by anyone else at this stage, as I'm just going from just complete raw, as trying to be as honest and transparent as possible. If we're kind of in the middle of this, so definitely go back and watch the other parts, so you can find out why we are in this moment, and why we have this mess here and whatever. Anyway, so yeah, to just get right back into it. Well, again, I'll probably talk for a minute, I'm sure, but we'll get right back into the composition and try to make some more stuff and try to make sense of what we have here. Just kind of put this at the beginning here. Cool. So in the last part yesterday, I kind of I just got right in there, and I didn't even listen to the material that we had so far, all of this material, and I just kind of was thinking about the next section, and I was in a mode of I was in a frame of mind where I'm I don't want to get stuck in perfecting the beginning section, and I want to start just getting rough material out that could potentially work as the next section, or at least just some sketches to work with. And then, so by doing that, I just started right at the end of this sort of beginning chunk that we've established, just roughly. And I sort of obsessed on this little motivic idea here, this short, long ending of this little phrase. So just this little thing here, right? Just that. right? And I just riffed on that for a while and found some kind of harmonies and was trying to tell a little bit of a story, sort of subconsciously, just without trying to force anything, and just feel around and see what comes out. And eventually I had to kind of like, it evolved into this next whole idea. Yeah. So I think before I'm inclined to now come back, like instead of forging forward and continuing to sketch more and more, because we already have like a sketch, right? We have this, we have an abstract sketch that isn't musical material yet, but we have this whole thing. And we're operating, well, sorry, I'm not showing you my mouse. There we go. So we have this whole diagram, and we're still operating in this beginning section. We kind of like started doing this, purple idea, this serene thing, and before it gets into the chaos, and then we threw in some material that would maybe kind of start representing what the chaotic, being ripped out of the womb might look like or sound like, musically. And, not literally, but just using this as inspiration for musical texture and a musical idea. So that's kind of where we are. That's where we sort of ended, is the beginning of that little kind of high contrast area, high dissonance moment. And so now, today I feel a little bit more inclined to I want to go back and hear all of the material that we had, because I haven't heard it for a couple days now, or a day and a half or so, the whole thing. So, and I like doing that, because sometimes, it's like I'm in a new state. I'm refreshed or whatever. I have a different perspective today than I did a couple days ago, and I just want to hear and just listen and see like what comes out of it. If I have a new sort of, I don't know, epiphany, or just see if there's something else I can focus on, and maybe we can start kind of cleaning things up or adjusting things, or like finding some material that we can expand or use in the next sections, or just anything, right? So there's not a real strong concrete idea yet, but I want to find one. Yeah, just get rid of this here. And, oops. So what is this here? I think this is, so I think I know, like in the first video, I'm pretty sure it was, I kind of briefly mentioned that I like to sort of observe the contents of my mind. And I don't know if I can't remember if I got deep into that, or I don't think I got deep into that, but I don't know if I said anything further really. But so I think it's relevant here, because, what does that mean, first of all? What's the contents of my mind? Well, this right here that's what this is, in a musical context, right? So, and yeah, I guess let's define that a little further. So like, what is it? This is the contents of my mind. What does that even mean? So all of this material in this track here, well, all of it actually, but the first thing we came up with was this whole track right here, and that's kind of representative of the womb idea, right? And how did that material come about? Like, how did that come out? Like, you watched me sort of improvise it, right? It came out like naturally, like it was an exploration, excuse me, kind of a meditation on an idea, right? And so I didn't like, this is what makes music fun for me, and working on music in this way that I do, and with this process that I've kind of naturally developed, I guess, for myself. What is fun about it is that, like, I don't feel like I am the one writing the music all the time, right? So it's like I didn't sit there and art and logically and fully in a fully conscious way place every note and give it, make sure that it follows this perfect logic and this perfect theory that, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what happened there. Uh, what did happen is there was a subconscious thing happening. So it's like someone else wrote it, and who else wrote it? Well, it sort of like spilled out of the aggregate, right? So kind of like the subconscious, I guess, ultimately, is what that is. But and sorry, I'm trying to like articulate this thought, but so I yeah, so there's all this information, right? There's all of this like everything that I have experienced and learned and practiced and seen and everything, like all my whole human experience since I was born, essentially, right, is all just in there. Like all that information is packed away, and it's all just like jammed, like it's all just jammed into this like you know, this like blob, you know, this like fatty meat blob in my skull, and it's all just like jammed in there and cross associating, and you know, it's just all like, that's just what I'm imagining, right? Like there's just tons and tons and tons of information in there, like more than I can even comprehend, right? And and it's constantly working and constantly just like making new connections and cross-referencing and things like that, right? And so it's an aggregate. Like I like to think of it as like an aggregate. But it's subconscious, but it's like, when I think of subconscious, I think of like I don't know. It just, that's, to me, that's like, I picture this like airy, ethereal thing. And when I think of just the term aggregate, I think of like material, like lots and lots and lots of just like images and material that's like morphing and just all melding in there, you know. And it's complex. Like there's a lot in there. I can't even fathom it. And when I say I, it's like, it's just funny because it's like, why do I get to own this thing? It's like, it's kind of like, it's mine, right? It's in my body and stuff, but it doesn't, it won't tell me how it works. Like, I don't know, that's just a weird, kind of a weird thing to me. Like there's like this me who is speaking to you, but then there's this like powerful thing inside of here doing all of this complex stuff with like a much deeper knowledge, and but there's a separation kind of there, right? And so I guess what I'm getting at is like, when it comes to observing the contents of my mind, it's fun to sort of just trust it and just let it play and let it go, and don't try to force too much on it. Don't try to like logic your way through it, and don't try to yeah, just don't try to know everything necessarily, and let it do its thing, right? And so I don't know, I'm just like, that's what's fun to me, is like, it doesn't feel like, it feels like I'm collaborating with something else, and it's not just me doing this like math problem or something. It's this exploration, and for me, that's what's so fun about writing music. It's not really like, I'm not really, there's kind of no ego in it for me. Like I'm not trying to make it like cool or like fit someone's idea of what's good or what's bad, or like, you know, trying to make this like thing force it into some like box that I think is sexy or something, or like that's going to be well liked or anything, right? Like I'm just not even thinking about that. I'm kind of just observing and then just adjusting things that feel like I want them to be a slightly different way. And I don't know, like that kind of thing, right? So yeah, so it's just it's this playful back and forth between the like aggregate and the me that's talking. Even though it's kind of all the same thing, right? Like it's not really separate, but I don't know. Um, you know, and so like I'm just imagining. Uh, I'm imagining like the just like when I'll look at the keyboard, let's say, and I look down at the piano keyboard, and 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 my as I look down, it's like my subconscious start is seeing the visual field in front of me, right? And it's like it is making it suddenly it's taking in that visual field, and now it's making all these associations, right? It's pulling all of the relevant information that relates to that thing, right, to make sense of it. And it starts there's just tons and tons of material in there, right? Like every time I've looked at a piano and I've like touched it, there's an experience there, there's information that's been fed into it. Every time I like read some music and played the piano while reading it, anytime I've listened to piano music, uh, you know, um, all that kind of stuff, right? And so there's just like there's this whole world of associations constant, and it probably goes way out outside of the piano itself, and finds other things out of there. And not only that, not only just the purely like associations directly related to the piano, excuse me, but now I'm also feeding it, right? Like I'm feeding it this subjective material also. So I'm using that as I'm like feeding it this other imagery that it will combine with that, right? And so we're operating with Sloterdijk's whole La Musique Retrouvée thing. And I'm imagining myself in the womb, and we kind of went over that and talked about the what that might be like and feel like, and like all this imagery about like, oh, so I'm in the womb, like maybe it's all in a lower frequency, maybe I'm experiencing this from my mom's environment outside of the womb, and then her heartbeat and her voice and all this kind of stuff, right? So like I'm putting myself in this mental world and creating this imagery, and then it's being mixed with all the imagery that my subconscious knows about the piano and all of its associations, right? So now there's this unique combination, right? And even though I don't remember the experience in the womb, and I probably wasn't conscious at that point. I don't know when that begins, but um, I am imagining and I'm making up a story in my head of what it might be, and that's all I have to work with, and that's fine. That's enough. But because I'm making up this story, and I'm creating strong mental imagery, that gets fed into my subconscious, and it goes and does with it what it will, as if that's true, right? So it's like it doesn't matter if I make it up in my head and think vividly. It the subconscious like doesn't know the difference, right? So it's like, which is there's like I don't want to veer off too far, but it's like that's probably why it's important to be be aware of what you're feeding into your visual field, and the types of thoughts that you think, right, and the types of imagery that you put in your mind, because your subconscious doesn't know the difference. It's all true. It's just all real. And so, right. And so it will kind of like, it will take that as true, and then it will spit it out into your sort of, your actions will start reflecting these things, right? The words that you say, your interests, right? The things that you gravitate towards, the things that you notice in the world, and the actions that you take are all representative of what you fed into your subconscious, or what other people fed into it, and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's, so that's kind of something to be aware of, right? And I try to be as conscious of that as possible. You can't control literally everything you put in there, but it's just good to recognize that. And so continuing on the point, like, that's exactly what's happening, right? So like I'm just going into aggregate mode and I'm improvising, and my actions are a result. My actions on the piano uh, are a result of the contents of my mind, right? So, excuse me, the contents of my subconscious mind, the aggregate, right? And now it is sort of manifesting physically through my, as actions that I take, right? And so that's really interesting to me, right? And so there's a lot there, and I like to observe it, and I like to, it's I can't intellectualize all of it, the result of it, right? Like I don't. There's so much information that went behind what came out ultimately, and so I have to allow it to be valid, right? So like I want to let it be okay on its own and just observe it. And that's what's interesting. So it's not just me, it's like I'm working with this other friend, this other entity, and seeing what it does. So, and I'm observing the contents of what it wanted to do. And that's why, you know, if I remove any kind of like egotistical desire, like I'm not writing this music to try to be popular. Like I'm not writing this music to try to emulate somebody else's music. I'm not trying to write it to attract a girl. I'm not writing it to make money. There's all these like kind of egotistical reasons that you might be making music, and I'm not even saying, like, I'm not saying that that's bad, because like totally, like, yeah, like if that's going to be your method for attracting the girl, and you're writing something that you think that she might like or whatever, that's awesome. I hope it works. But if you're writing something to try to make money or for it to be popular, that kind of thing, I don't know. I would hope that it works, because if it doesn't work, then I mean that's like, you weren't honest. You didn't like allow the honest thing to come out. And so you might as well have like let something more original and unique and something that felt more honest and real to you to come out. So I think that's important too, is to recognize why you're even writing music. Like what's the intention really? And to be honest with yourself there, because some people might not really know, and they might be stuck in this kind of like ego-driven realm. And then that's when you get stuck, because you have this like outside idea being imposed on you, that you're imposing onto the music, and you're trying to force it into this mold. And then like there's a disconnect, right? You're not just allowing something to happen. You're not trusting yourself, and you're not, and also like, it's like, why not allow a chance for potential originality, right? So if you let what comes out of your subconscious mind be what it is, and just observe what happened, and maybe even just like pretend that it's good for now. Like don't pass judgment on it, that it's good or bad, but just let it be what it is. And if you have to, maybe even just pretend, like just be like, oh, this is good, or maybe I don't know if this is good, but let's not worry about good. Let's just observe and play, right? Kind of a thing. And then you might have a chance of making something very unique to you, and potentially original, right? And arguably, I mean, like, I know everyone, popular artists or composers who are, who have made it in some sense are, like it's likely that if you look at their process and how they got to where they are, how they got their sound, their unique sound, their unique voice and stuff, like everyone wants their own voice. But in order to have your own voice, like you have to allow it to be different from other people's voice, right? So like, and that's what's scary because it's not something you've heard before. It's not familiar. And so you have to just trust your instincts, kind of a thing, and let it just be what it is, and recognize it, just observe it and sort of admire it. I don't know. That's what I like to do. I like to admire what came out. And that's why I think a lot of it is like unserious, even though I tend towards really like dark and kind of dense and dissonant things that, and even subjects that seem serious or dark or whatever. Like, I'm admiring what comes out in a way, and it's sort of, sometimes it's comical to me because I don't feel like I'm the one making the decision in an egotistical state and making it try to be something and making someone try to like it or hoping to win someone's approval. I'm not doing those things. I'm just seeing what came out and I'm playing with the process, and I'm kind of adjusting things consciously, then letting the subconscious take over, and that's what's fun to me. Like it's fun, it's discovery, and it feels very free, and it feels limitless. Like it feels like there's unlimited potential and unlimited ideas, and so there's no sense of like scarcity. Like I'm not holding this one piece and this one idea really tight. Like I'm not. It doesn't have to work. There's not high stakes, and that allows newer things to happen. And then I can observe what happened, and I can just, yeah, I don't know, just kind of admire it. And so anyway, it's fun. So I've learned to embrace this, and I guess the whole point was like, yeah, maybe what we have here is completely fine as it is. And maybe I adjust a few things. Maybe I cut half of it away. I don't know. It's fine, right? So like, I think I mentioned in the last video, I think it was, or one or two ago, where I like, where this is part of this whole point, I guess, or this whole kind of idea is that like, if even though it came out maybe somewhat easily, and kind of improvised in one take sort of thing, that doesn't mean that it's lazy or bad. It's valid as rich work, that has because it has all of that content and the aggregate of the subconscious and all of the things I've learned before, and then also this imagery, this specific like frame that we're like, this like lens that we're feeding it through, of this subject that we've established. Like all of that's just slamming together, and then it comes out, and so we've done a lot of pre-compositional work, I guess, is how you could say it. Anyway, so yeah, trying not to make this a super long ramble, but this is just, that's a philosophy, right? Like that's kind of what I've developed up to this point in my sort of journey as a composer, and it works for me, and it makes it really fun, and it also material comes out that I haven't heard before, and so that's cool. Like there's some originality to it in some sense, so yeah, anyway, that's it. So all right, now I need to like shift back into music mode, and yeah, so I just want to like get this in my ears again before I go kind of like start playing with the piano again and stuff. So, and I might not even do that today, who knows. Maybe I'll just adjust things manually, so we'll just see. I just want to hear it, and I want to see where it takes me. Okay, so I'm just going to play this really rough thing that we have here. Oh no. Dang, sorry. It looks like only my microphone is capturing this and you're not actually getting the audio from Logic. Thought I restarted that. Huh. Dang. All right, sorry. This is a technical difficulty, I guess. Give me just a second here. I'll fix this. This is what happens when you do lives, I guess. All right. All right. I'm also not a pro at this, so sorry about that. All right, so you're seeing the program, but the audio doesn't seem to be coming through. All right, let's see. Hopefully this will work. There we go. Nice. Now let's just test it. Okay. All right. So you can hear me, you can hear Logic. Okay. All right. Just going to start over. Get back into that space. So I just kind of threw this as the next section as a really rough sketch, so. This is what we did in the last video. It's actually that accelerating bass thing that represents the heartbeat. It really does kind of have that effect on you. It starts like, you know, raising your heart rate. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's see here. It's interesting because there's some, I don't know, it feels relatively complete, just that first section. Before we get into these, this sort of, what I was saying is like the elation period of the story, you know, the last moment in the womb, this place, the paradise, the idyllic place that you'll never go back to completely. And then there's the sort of narrator, the narrative, the sort of soundtrack to the situation, which is these, you know, this polyphonic thing that's not the mother's voice. That comes, kind of peeks in every once in a while. We've got this little chuckle kind of a thing. I kind of want to make that just impossibly fast. I think I started doing something with this last time and then just abandoned it because I just started talking. Just gonna do this. Maybe like impossibly fast for something that's not really playable on the real piano. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but oops. So, yeah, anyway, just let me play around here. I like that. I like that just little moment, little. It's like just a whatever. Like if we're being consistent with sort of the mother's voice idea, it's kind of, it's like her little chuckle or something. It is polyphonic, but it's it kind of works as one tone. You don't really hear it as like a harmony or a polyphonic texture. It's just a really quick little kind of single voice effect, the effect of a single line. So that's fine, right? So. That's where like just kind of using your ears is important, because it's like logically that's not consistent. Like if I want this single line to represent sort of the mother's voice type of thing, and then the polyphonic, you know, 2 lines or more to represent the sort of narrator or the sort of emotional content the soundtrack behind the scene kind of a thing. Well, then this is somewhere in the middle, isn't it? But the effect of it on the ear, if you just listen to it, is more single line territory. So that's where it's like excusable. It's funny, I feel the need to talk just because I'm on camera. It feels nice to just be quiet. Natural state. Okay, so I just want to hear this again. I just want to get it in my ear, and I want to sometimes I really have to like just repeat things a lot just to see, you know, because I'm hearing different things each time I'm listening. I can't like take all of it in every time. I'm focusing on different things. And so we'll just play it again up to a certain point. I might pause it. I really like that. I like this natural movement into a little bit higher register. You know, we're still kind of in a tight register that's generally lower because we're inside of the womb experiencing the sonic world, which is all going to be muffled and in a lower frequency range because we're in a like bubble, right? We're in like a wet sack. I really like that natural, what would I call it? There's probably a technical term, but it's not coming to me. But just the natural sort of volume, I guess, just the volume. It's like it starts calmly. It's like pretty low. It doesn't just come in and hit you like the mother's voice, but then it gets a little excited and gets a little louder and then comes back down. It draws back in. Like I just like this natural dynamics going on just in these first two little phrases. I mean, that could even be quieter, maybe. And that little bling, bling. And then this is like something different, right? This is kind of like, this is structural. This is kind of a structural thing that happens. There's a shift up into a higher register. So what is that? You know, so we're getting a little bit more granular here, right? We're kind of like, what's the kind of phrase structure and what are we saying here? Ooh, I like these pauses too. I really like these like little breaths between, you know, the abstract heartbeat figure right here. Oh, it just feels good. I love that dun 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 dun, that cadence right back into the heartbeat that finishes the idea. Right, that's cool. See, and I'm like, that's cool, right? Because it's not like, I'm not saying that's cool because I came up with something cool. I'm saying like, oh, that's cool what the aggregate came up with, what the you know, this other thing came up with that's not, I'm not identifying as really, yeah, whatever. Let me just see if I have hit the sustain pedal on that note. That's just sticking out to me as something I want to adjust. Let's hear what that little like really strong external noise sounds like, more muffled with the pedal pressed, the sustain pedal pressed before it happens, right? So it's going to soften it. Right, muffled. So that feels more, I like that a little better for this effect that we're going for. If the pedal comes before it, then it's already open. And it's this more resonant, more, I mean, at the same time, more resonant, more muffled. For some reason, it has that effect. Whereas if you hit the chord or the harmony or whatever, the note, beat right a split second, less than a second before you hit the sustain pedal, you're going to get the full like clarity of the note or chord. And those are just two different effects to decide. You can decide whether you want to do one or the other. I really love that right there, where it's just like, dun, like this. For some reason, that note just feels good. Yeah, let's leave that. Dude, like, this feels like music. See, at first, after I recorded this whole section, it felt like, even after talking about I don't know, the whole kind of philosophy of, well, I don't know which came first, actually. Now I'm forgetting exactly what I talked about and what I did at what times, but it's like I posed this after I came up with it, that like, this is just rough, it's not It's really going to change. It's definitely not going to be this long. I'm going to like move all kinds of things around and stuff. And I said all that, like, and then now listening to it with new ears, it's a new day, a new, a new state. And I haven't heard it in a couple days. Like sometimes I'll come back to something like this and I'll be like, no, that's not working. And then sometimes I'll come back to it and I'll be like, oh, like, why do I feel the need to change things? And that's this thing that just comes up, that I try to be conscious of, which is this effort thing. Like, well, it can't just stay like that. That's not good enough. Like, it needs to be molded into something more specific and more like have more clear repetitions or something, like it must be messed with because it can't be that easy. And then I listen to this and I'm like, there's phrases, there is breath, there are 3 different elements. There's not too much of one or another. It has plenty of color and nuance. Like there's not any exact repetition, which I prefer. I like it to be a continuous story, like real life. Like real life doesn't have exact, precise repetitions, right? So it has things that are the same idea as another thing, kind of a repetition, but in a always slightly varied, right? That's organic. And I think if you can get a certain level of organicism in your music, I think it always serves it, at least for this type of music, I guess. If we're trying to make dance music and make a beat, obviously that's a whole different approach, and you want it to be consistent because you can't dance to this. This doesn't make you get up and move and tap your feet and like headbang or whatever. It's a different thing, and so it's more like painting, or it's a little bit more intellectual, a little more heady, and a little more like visual for me. And so I don't know. This feels fairly complete, is what I'm saying. The first section, at least. So is this enough? I want to hear it one more time. So. Like, does that stick out too much? That one long note? I mean, it's kind of a heartbeat texture, so is that okay? I think I like that better. So that was just a little choice, but to verbalize it, I, changed that one long note in the kind of what we're calling the heartbeat figure, because it was one long note, just one, and one like sort of, but and that broke character sort of, right? So we're not telling a story with that heartbeat necessarily. It's just the environment. It's a drone, and it's supposed to be kind of background. So that's why I wanted to change that, just for consistency. Something else that I like, I know I'm not like writing a lot of music right now, but it's taking this in and it's observing little moments, and this is important. And it's fun for me. So like this is just how, if I'm being true to my compositional process, it looks a little different for each piece, obviously, and that's the same for everybody who writes music. But I like to constantly zooming in and out to different levels, right? So sometimes I get really granular and just dial in on one 3-note motive, and sometimes I want to kind of zoom out a little bit, and there's various levels, right? So we're not really super granular, and we're not zooming all the way out yet. We're kind of in a middle zoom level, I guess. So I'm just listening, and I'm just taking in, like, all of this is being, it's funny because it's like this circular thing, because the aggregate, the subconscious, like, made this out of the things we fed it and all of the things it also knows from my past and all of that I went over. And now but now it's in the visual field and it's in the aural field, what it created, and now it's being fed back into it. So it's feeding on itself, right? And this is interesting to me. That's why, I just think it's interesting, all of it, like the result and the process, I guess, both. But I guess what triggered that, me stopping this, was recognizing how, I think this has really cool melodic contour, and that happened naturally. And it's kind of just fun when that happens, because I'm just like, whoa, like it's cool that just naturally happened, like melodic contour. So it's like a good melody, what we kind of like, if you read a theory book or a book on writing melodies or something, you're going to most likely, probably pretty in the beginning, you might see, like, well, eventually, inevitably, I would guess that you will see the concept of sort of filling in the gaps and having one zenith and one nadir, I think is how you say it, Nadir. And so a zenith is like the peak, one peak, and then one low moment, right? One lowest point and one highest point, and then kind of filling in the gaps and stuff. So if you make a gap, then fill it in, It's interesting because if you trade the markets, like I do a little bit of that, and I did a lot of it in recent years. That was something that I was also doing a lot of, and it's very musical in that way, right? So like gaps get filled, and it's very melodic. Like, it's crazy. It's really crazy, like how similar a financial chart is to a score. Anyway, so that's just an observation. But so it's cool when I see this, just how this happened like this. It's like it's telling a story and it's filling in the gaps. So it's not just making a jump and then staying down there. Like it ebbs and flows. So I want to hear this again. I'm just going to start it over. Might not be fun to experience on your end, but this is just me, I guess. almost like she farted and then laughed about it. Something like that. Okay. Like hearing another piece in that. See, that sounded just like a mistake, so that's something I need to, but there's another, like a repeat of that same kind of idea, so I want to maybe keep the 2 but just adjust the first one. It's like an echo. Na 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 na. No, no, you hear this, you hear that, right? That's that perfect 5th, so it like drops all the way down. Na, 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 na. Just disappears down into that, kind of like the heartbeat cadential idea. It just disappears, like it's finished by this consistent 5th. Right. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm holding the pedal, so that's not going to make a big difference. But maybe I should have left it. Just that moment there. So just a doubling of that. Don't need that one. Right, so we established that as the new. That new that takes us into this next section here, but let's see. Okay. All right, I need to get up and just like move for a second. So give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. So I just made a lot of observations. I'm trying to think of whether I should, sketch out some more material or adjust some things. Just going to listen one more time. So when it gets to this point, it feels like the story is progressing, like, right? So there's this shift in kind of the content when this starts to happen. It's like the narrator is coming in. And that feels good when that comes in. And it feels like a slightly different dimension, right? A different character a little bit. And maybe that can lead into, because the same idea, the same character is who is telling this story of the serene, well, our initial idea of the serene, experience in the womb, the last, a recognition of the last moment of being there, right? So. Serene. Oh, God. Okay, so excuse me. Too strong. It's maybe a B flat. Just playing for a second here, because I kind of heard something. Octave thing. See, that feels kind of right, but So I was just hearing that that D above. Like I wanted that same gesture to be consistent. I kind of liked the way this this third iteration of these didn't have a little turn up, and like these did. Dun, 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 dun. But then I just kept hearing this in my head, and it wasn't there. Like I just wasn't getting this thing that I wanted to hear, so I just made it happen. And I realized that maybe just the one note versus the two was what I liked. And then that kind of like gave it ties into this. It made this feel less harsh, and because it gave us that it put that D note in our ear before it was then made into a dissonant interval, and it softened the effect of the second one. So just these are like granular things that I am just kind of playing with right now. And I've talked previously about not going into perfection mode before, like too early, before you have more information on the page. So I'm conscious of that. See, I like that repetition of that G right there too, really in a soft way. Maybe I can just bring that up a tiny bit more. Yeah. So it's just enough to ground the other one, right? Repetition legitimizes, and so it just created some consistency. This does need to be a little louder though, because the tone of it is just slightly different. No, we'll just leave that. It's fine. No, it's not fine. Just slightly uneven, but not as uneven as it was. Okay, so I think that change is too abrupt, and this what we're considering this elation moment. I think the heartbeat still needs to continue underneath it, so that will tie it in a little better. So it's not just a stark contrast. We're not really going for a stark contrast right there. We will later. But I'm thinking maybe there needs to be a tie-in. So maybe some of the low grumble stuff, maybe there's more activity there, and then it just like, maybe it is kind of a higher contrast, but it like kind of builds up to this sort of deceptive, you know, it almost feels like something's going to happen, and then it's this really clear thing, this really clear, beautiful thing. Then the thing happens. So it's like this build up. I don't know. Yeah, it's sort of a false climax kind of a thing. See, like maybe more of that, like that starts building up more, right? One second. All right, so I've been going for just under, well, about an hour and a half. Okay. All right, so I've been going for going for an hour and a half. Going for an hour and a half. Okay. So two things, potentially a way forward, a way through this, and a way to like transition into the elated moment before the chaos and before the like accelerating heartbeat. Two things that I'm thinking are the more of the grumbling stuff, more of that happening, kind of an acceleration of or not an acceleration, but some more intense activity that feels like it's building up towards something, and maybe more narration, more of this kind of character. See, this is also something that is just an observation, is like, you know, when you look at an abstract art piece, you know, I mean, there's a lot of different types, I guess, but like something that's, let's say it's just paint, it's colors, it's not, or it could be anything. It could be like little bits of imagery and stuff too, or whatever, but there's going to be there's going to be things that tie it together. So there might be like a little, it might be all black or gray or have some other hues and stuff, but then there's like a red dot, like a red little scratch or dot or something down here, and then there's like another red element just kind of like up here, and then there's, you know, maybe something a little on the side or like in the middle, you know, like there's these things that kind of make it cohesive and that bring your, that call your attention, right? So they are meant to be a focal point, right? So like there might be that like dark red little piece in a few of the places, or maybe just in one place, just to make it feel kind of in balance. There's this huge canvas and it's like all kind of gray, and then there's this like red little thing down here, and that's it. And so your eye is just like, you know, and so that's the whole kind of the point, is like this play with space and whatever. So anyway, that's the function of these kind of like, that's why I keep some of these just like dent, bant, bump, you know, because they are not standing out as being, they're not like they're kind of confirming the space, the whole idea space, and they're just toying with the materials a little bit in there, and they're not like calling too much attention to themselves, but they are like showing you that note. Excuse me. They're just calling a little attention to that note, then retracting real quick, and it's not offensive. It's not like grabbing you and pulling you in all these directions, or but it's also maybe not, it doesn't seem like a complete melodic idea, but it just works because it is just a piece of that same color we've heard before in there, and it acts as the voice. And also, I mean, logically it does. Like if we're using this subjective material of the mother's voice and a narrative voice type of thing, then yeah, that's consistent. That's inconsistent. The mother speaking and stuff, like, right, it's going to be kind of broken up and stuff. So it's consistent with that idea. It's in that it is inconsistent. All right, so I'm going to just move this stuff over. We'll actually just move this way back for a minute. I'm just getting that out of the way. Okay, I'm just checking time. So a little over an hour and a half. I'm trying to make these not more than 2 hours. And okay. So I'll just keep track of time here. We can go for another like 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. So 33. Okay, cool. All right, so what can I like get done materially after all of this time? The very last bit of the session, we actually add some new music, but there's no rules. There's just the process as it lies, right? There's a tiny sense of urgency on the larger scale of how many days and sessions should this go, but also I don't know. So Just being kind of aware of that. I'm just gonna play around for a minute. So I'll talk a bit less unless something comes up. I just want to go back into the aggregate, if you will, I suppose. And wow, okay. Keyboard's a little crooked, but that's what I'm still dealing with. But I'm waiting for a camera to come in, so that will be fixed eventually. It's alive. So we go into that like B flat thing, don't we? So we eventually go, if we're going to keep that ending material, it's like this symmetrical scale thing. Is it symmetrical? No, not really, but close. So this is two tones we don't have, and there's one, and then two. That would complete the aggregate of this 12-tone set, huh? Anyway, just playing. And we go into that. And that feels too spaced out, too pleasant. We need it to be like really like sharp. That kind of thing. So maybe if the narrator is going So I'm thinking of this gesture, tying that gesture, the long, short, little upward movement. Right? So this like long, short, but that's a downward version of it, right? So I'm kind of using motivic consistency and developing just a motivic idea for consistency. So like a gesture, right? So like this could be the same gesture as that, right? Wait. Like, right? How crazy how much this is drifting. Sorry. Okay. So this is like the music is developing now. I'm seeing a gesture, seeing a transition, and maybe I should record some more rough material. And then tomorrow we'll come back and examine it and just keep kind of going back and forth like that, right? And then we'll eventually break through to the other side, and we'll get a lot more. It'll move faster as after we develop this initial section, I talked about, as I kind of drew in. I think it was part 3, yeah, where I illustrated that this could be kind of a 2-part idea, the whole composition. This is like the first climax idea, and then the next one can be informed by this one. So now that's why I'm kind of dialing in more on this intro, or this first section, I guess. It's not a perfectionist move. It's now it's more of an actual development move. Okay, let me just check the time. I've got like 5 minutes. Okay. So maybe I should throw down some material. Get this freaking keyboard to stay. It's so sensitive. It seems like such a simple task. There we go. For now, it'll probably drift. But once I get a permanent camera solution, it will be easier to manage, because I won't be using my actual phone. Okay, yeah, so I'm mainly focused on the sort of narrator situation, but not the sort of buildup of grumbly external noise. Maybe there's a sort of Stravinskian stratification thing that could happen. So stratification being like layers that, like, yeah, in music, Stravinsky's kind of known for doing this thing where like he goes back and forth between these two ideas and as they develop. And so that's a tool we could use where we go back and forth between like the grumbles, more start occurring, and more of this narration thing starts to occur as well. And it's this fighting sort of, not, I don't know. Yeah, this sort of back and forth maybe. This is an idea. And that leads into, we kind of just break away into this like, this moment of clarity, this moment of serene, just paradise and recognition of this recognition of the last time that we're in the womb and how kind of tragic and beautiful that idea is, right? While at the same time, like there's grumbles and noise and stuff like, like I don't know where that's coming from, but it just feels like a cool way to maybe start doing a false climax. Yeah, okay, all right. Actually, I mean, I could do that really easily, probably, and then just adjust some notes. So we have this, just one more little melodic thing that comes after the narration. And then maybe we come back and do more of this kind of. So let's go. Just copy and paste this for now for effect, just to see what happens. Wait. So that is over there. Did I? Hold on a second here. But that's also that. Okay, so I can just chop that. Okay. Space it out a bit. I don't know if I want these exact repetitions. Oh wow, I'm already over time. Just goes by so fast. Okay. All right, so I'm going to record a rough idea, and then that'll be the end of the session, so that I'm just, now we've built up to this actual idea we can start putting down, and then next time we can develop it further and start cleaning up things faster. So we've kind of decided that this whole thing is pretty valid. So now that's, you know, there, and I might just adjust things, add things later potentially, but it's we have a lot to work with, and now we can start moving forward. So you know, it's kind of been a slow process up to this point, but there are obviously the process just moves really fast, then halts to kind of a pause for a little while, and building up some information and observation, and then there's a lot of action, and then there's more observing, and then there's moments of action, you know. So that's kind of just the ebb and flow. Yeah, so let me just record some rough jams, kick out the jams for a minute, and we'll call it a day. Okay. Oh, maybe I'll back up too. Just cool. Actually, get rid of my face cam. Go to keyboard. Hear it one more time. I can adjust a lot of this because it's giving some of the effect that I'm looking for, but then it gets a little too active. It's a little too nervous. It needs to be more open, more clear. It should just be high contrast. And we can, well, let's see if this, I want to hear this one more time before we leave, then I'll come back. Maybe I'll make some notes just to remember what I was thinking. Okay, I just want to see if this does in fact have that build-up effect, just for now. And yeah, it's not really in the right spot, but I just want to see. So I need more of that. Yeah, maybe I'll make a note here. Okay, edit. It's just all from like, I saved this as a template from another piece, just so I can easily whip it up and make a new piece. So notes from something else. Okay, let's go. Okay. Make low grumbles. Increasingly more intense, more sustain. Okay. I'll just save that, leave that open, and save that. Cool. All right, that'll be it for today, and then we'll tomorrow I'll come back and probably start really start adding a lot more. Like I don't know, but hopefully I'd like to get through a lot more of this, but you can't, you just can't rush, genius. So it is what it is. Okay, so thanks. See you tomorrow. Bye.